Hello, this is a summary of the article Organizing for Marketing Excellence by Moorman and Day, which was written in 2016. My name is Nick Vervoort, and I will walk you through this article that was assigned for the marketing strategy lecture of week 4. To begin, let's look at the abstract, of which the most important elements I have highlighted. So basically, the authors state that marketing organization is the interface of the firm with its markets and where the work of marketing gets done. So they basically give a first definition of marketing organization as a term. Basically, the article reviews the past 25 years of scholarship. So it's kind of a literature review on important articles on the subject. And basically, the most important element that comes forward of all these 25 years of research is 4 elements of marketing organization, which are capabilities, configuration, which includes structure, metrics, and incentives, then organizational culture, and finally, the human capital of marketing leadership and talent. So basically, these 4 elements are then mobilized through the 7 marketing activities, or the 7 A's that occur during this strategy process. These enable the firm to anticipate marketing changes, adapt the strategy to stay ahead of the competition, align the organization to the strategy and market, activate effective implementation, ensure accountability for results, attract resources, and finally manage marketing assets. And basically, the gist of the whole paper is that how well the firm manages these 7 A's throughout the marketing strategy process will determine the performance payoffs for marketing organizations. So that's basically what the whole article is about. Furthermore, they give some future research priorities per the different elements and the impact that these have on the 7 A's. So basically, to kind of summarize this in a graphical way, I have drawn up this sort of main argument framework. So the 4 elements that I just discussed, they basically are mobilized through, which you can see in the bottom left corner, these 7 marketing activities or 7 A's. And this whole process in the end determines the performance payoffs for marketing organizations. So that's basically the main gist of it. And how the authors summarize this in a graphical way through the theoretical framework is shown below in figure 1. So basically what I just said, the top 3 boxes describe the relationship between the 4 elements of marketing organization, or MARC-org, as they kind of summarize the term. The effect of these through a direct effect, which can be seen in the bottom left corner, on the 7 A's, which again has a direct effect on the firm performance, which has a feedback effect on the first MARC-org element, while it also has a feedback effect on the 7 A's, which in turn also has a feedback effect on the MARC-org elements. So what else do we see here? It basically schematically shows how these 4 elements are interconnected with each other in the bottom left figure. And also it kind of explains with the blue circle figure how resourcing is described in their words. So through assessing, designing, and implementing, which is done by respectively accountability, anticipation, adaptation, and alignment activation. So the 7 A's we talked about. And these lead to 2 types of outcomes, the intermediate marketing outcomes and the firm outcomes, which are listed in the bottom right corner. So first, they talk about the marketing capabilities for marketing excellence, which is the first element of the MARC-org. And this is also graphically described in figure 2 on building superior marketing capabilities. And basically, they say that by identifying predictive knowledge and skills, you can build knowledge and skills, which can be done through training, hiring, partnering, or acquiring. And these 2 things together ensure the capabilities to create superior value. Afterwards, these are embedded in informal and formal organizational processes, integrated to create complementarities, and finally, they build experience and climb the learning curve, which leads to a sustained competitive advantage, which is, of course, very important for all firms. Um, and these last three factors also make the capabilities difficult to imitate, which, of course, leads to the sustained competitive advantage over competing firms. Afterwards, they talk about the configuration of marketing for marketing excellence, and this basically discusses the required organizational structures to be put in place, the use of certain metrics that can be used to assess the performance of these marketing configurations. Third, they talk about the incentives and controls that are used in order to check for this marketing configuration. And finally, the importance of human capital for marketing excellence is discussed. Which is also the third element that is discussed. And basically, what they start off by saying is that human capital is a key force in the creation, implementation, and evaluation of marketing strategy. And basically, what they describe in this part of the article is that most existing research has been done in regard to marketing employees, but there should also be more attention paid to researching the role of marketing leaders. So, for example, the role of the CMO in the organization, which in previous lectures was already discussed as being one of the most volatile chief office positions within organizations. And finally, they talk about the role of organizational culture in marketing excellence. And I found that this figure featured below, so on building and sustaining a market-oriented culture, really neatly summarizes what this part of the article is about. So basically, they say in order to build and sustain a market-oriented culture, a walk and talk of the leader has to be aligned. So do what you say and say what you do, basically, which demonstrates impact across financial and non-financial outcomes, which in turn makes it easy to offer resources and rewards, which builds effective informal and formal learning mechanisms, which in turn is built through values, beliefs, norms, behaviors, and artifacts. And this attracts curious, open-minded human capital, which kind of completes the vicious circle of building and sustaining this market-oriented culture. And the core value behind this whole schema is prioritizing to prioritize the serving target customers over the long run. And basically, all these individual steps are supported by several articles that the authors of this paper have summarized and analyzed over the course of the last 25 years. So, after describing these four individual steps in the framework, they basically talk about how these are integrated into the marketing organization. And basically, this comes down to contributing to firm performance. And then they discuss how market organization influences the design of MS, so marketing strategy, how it influences the implementation, how it influences the assessment, and finally, how it influences the resourcing. And with regard to the design, they talk about the anticipation and adaptation, so the first two of the 7 A's. With regard to implementation, they talk about alignment and activation, so number 3 and number 4 of the 7 A's. Hereafter, they talk about the assessment, which is done through accountability. And finally, the last two of the A's that are discussed are related to resourcing, and they talk about attraction and asset management. So, one quote that I found that really neatly summarizes what this paper is about is the following. So we offer future research priorities on the 4 elements of marketing organization, their integration, and the 7 A's to drive the field forward into a new era of marketing. So that's by Moorman and Day. And I found that this summarizes the main idea of the article as it describes the means to the end of the pursuit of so-called marketing excellence, namely the connection between the 4 elements of MarkOrg, as they mention it, as they say it, and the 7 A's of marketing activities that were just discussed. So two questions that kind of popped in my head while reading and analyzing this article are, how will these 4 market organization elements eventually have to be adapted? I mean, these are kind of based on the past 25 years of analyzed data and marketing insights. So how will these have to be adapted to the rapidly changing digital landscape to incorporate new innovations? Because, of course, in the past 25 years, a lot of things have changed, but the coming 25 years will change at a much faster pace, I believe, due to a very high level of innovation, the prevalence of the internet, upcoming technologies like VR, AR, is really going to shake up the whole industry. And I believe that they have to really look forward to these new innovations and adapt the elements that they currently listed to these new innovations. And in correspondence with this first question, I also thought that there should be metrics, like really just concrete metrics that can be used in order to assess the marketing strategies in this new digital changing landscape. So I don't know if there's already research on this, but there should be a really um, like there's the current metrics that are being used. I don't think they will be able to represent the upcoming digital changes with regard to marketing organization. So to summarize, to conclude this presentation, I thought it was interesting to connect the article to the lecture it corresponds with. So the lecture of Monday. Um, so basically, the lecture discusses the topics of marketing capabilities and, of course, marketing excellence. And the pursuit of this marketing excellence is, of course, the main subject of the discussed article of Moorman and Day. So I believe it's a very good fit between the lecture and the article. And second, I believe the theoretical framework is well applied to the real world case of Nestle, Nespresso. So, of course, the very famous single serving espresso cup company we all know and love, if you like coffee, of course. Because I believe this market leading firm, which it used to be over the past 20, 30 years, really had to switch its activities from being a comfortable monopoly position to that of a very much marketing oriented firm, which has to compete with a ton of competing firms, including many supermarkets in Holland, like Albert Heijn, creating their own espresso capsules. As a result of the expiration of their patent on this capsule, on these espresso capsule machines. Um, I think that this connection is verified because it basically means that aiming for marketing excellence led for Nespresso's case, to maintaining their market leading position for Nespresso, which the company could have lost as a result of not focusing its activities very much on the field of marketing and all that comes with that. So I hope you understand this interesting article now, and I would love to hear your feedback. And maybe if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye.